Lightyear Frontier would be best described by drawing comparisons to Slime Rancher and its resource gathering, economy, exploration, while also imagining if Slime Rancher was also an unfinished and empty game. Lightyear Frontier is still in early access and has a serious lack of meaningful content. Here you crash and land on a planet with everything humanity requires to rebuild and colonize. So you're tasked with cleaning up the planet one zone at a time and being a little bit more creative as you gradually but steadily start to expand your image of a perfect paradise. Whether it's creating your own town, or resource depots, farms, or performing a little terraforming to tie it all together in the end, alone or with your friends. Presentation-wise, it does not look as good as they portray in their marketing. Like, it's still beautiful and somewhat absorbing, but I believe for purely artificial reasons. It's relaxing and has a good foundation to expand on, but once again, when you sit down to think about what you're doing here, it's more about a journey through your own creativity than through the game itself. Because this is a fairly barren sandbox world with a lot of grinding required to make progress, which also takes about 6 to 7 hours to complete if you rush through it and ignore all of the creative portions. Many of these aspects are quite imaginative, such as upgrading and personalizing your own mech, giving it more tools to do a better job at farming, harvesting, and traveling around the world. And while it may have features that'll keep you playing, there are a few drawbacks, like some content being restricted behind development. One of the things that I hate the most is the constant back and forth. You require resources, which are scattered throughout every single one of the areas. You must travel to each zone individually to collect resources, which if depleted, require time to refill, but trees and bushes need to be replanted, and you can replant them next to your base. You can speed up this process by feeding the local animals. These animals will provide a 3 times resource bonus for the next day for ores and plant-based resources. Once you've gathered enough, you can upgrade, obtaining new resources, unlocking better recipes, and continuing the process all over again, just with a lot more time investment between each journey. It eventually becomes a 10-minute back and forth, collecting resources, becoming overburdened, slowly walking back to base, tripping over terrain on every other occasion, both to and from, which is very frustrating because why do you need so much realistic mech mechanics when it's a common relaxing sandbox builder? You're not playing a VR realistic simulator for mechs. I understand why controlling its legs is the way that it is, but I can tell you that it's the most annoying feature. Similar to how you cannot sleep whenever you want to because you're only allowed to sleep at noon, which is strange because it then forces you to go out and do things or simply wait until you can. After approximately 6 hours, I'd had enough of the back and forth gameplay. You'll eventually wind up backtracking 2 or 3 times because you forgot certain resources in another zone that hadn't fully refreshed, and then you backtrack some more to get some food to feed the animals or even to go to sleep, and once you unlock the next areas, you then spend a lot of your time manually crafting all of the resources that you need from other zones that you've run out of. Imagine playing Satisfactory without the factory. That's basically how it feels. I feel like there should be more automation just to make it more convenient for people who are playing solo. You have to wait a full day for everything to become available after you unlock a new area, and it's just not satisfying. Like, the concept is really great, but until the game is fully released, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody other than those who really want to be creative and create a cozy little paradise for themselves and with friends. There's a great deal of waiting, gathering, and being creative, but there's not really a lot of depth here.